The scream that echoed through Maple Ridge Elementary that morning was not from a frightened child, but from a police K-9, a deep, urgent bark that sliced through the calm hum of the school like a warning siren. Officer Daniels tugged at the German Shepherd's vest, trying to pull him back, but the dog lunged again, paws scratching violently at an old painting that hung crookedly on the classroom wall. The children froze in place, wide-eyed, while little Amara, seated closest, clutched the edge of her desk as her mouth fell open in shock. The moment felt unreal, like the air itself paused, waiting for something no one expected. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that reveal the good hidden behind fear, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories like this to life. Just an hour earlier, everything had been ordinary. The 4th grade class had been asked to return after the weekend for a routine safety demonstration. Officer Daniels had visited many times, always with Rex, the disciplined K-9 who sat proudly by his side. Children adored him, teachers trusted him, and the school staff looked forward to his calm presence. But today was different. From the moment Rex entered the building, he had been restless. His nose twitched, ears perked, body tense. He wasn't reacting to the usual sense of crayons, lunchboxes, and chalk dust. Something else, something hidden, was calling to him. The classroom they entered belonged to Miss Porter, a kind woman who had always kept her space bright and welcoming. The painting on the wall, however, had never matched the room's cheerful energy. It was an abstract swirl of dark colors, heavy strokes, and unsettling shapes, donated years ago by a former art teacher. Students often said it felt strange, and some even avoided looking at it. But no one ever imagined it was more than just a poorly chosen school decoration. As soon as Rex entered that room, he froze. His tail stiffened, his muscles tightened, and a low rumble built in his throat. Officer Daniels had tried to calm him, but Rex pulled him forward with surprising force. The dog jumped at the painting, barking and digging at the edges as if he were trying to pull something free. The children gasped, chairs squeaking as they recoiled. Little Amara's hands trembled as she glanced between the dog and Officer Daniels, wondering if something dangerous was hiding in plain sight. Officer Daniels felt a flicker of fear. Rex had never reacted like this, not once in 7 years of service. His instincts were sharp, trained, and rarely wrong. Something was behind that painting. Something the dog was determined to reach. With one final tug of his paw, the bottom right corner of the canvas tore open. A thin sheet of dust fell like powdery snow, drifting to the floor. The room filled with gasps as everyone leaned forward, trying to glimpse what the dog had uncovered. Officer Daniels pulled the painting down fully, and behind it, embedded into the wall itself, was a small wooden panel with a rusted lock. It looked older than the building, untouched for decades. He gently pried the panel open. Inside was a narrow compartment, barely large enough to fit a shoebox, yet carefully sealed. Inside it rested an envelope, yellowed with age, and a small velvet pouch. The children watched in tense, breathless fascination. Rex sat beside the opening now, tail lowered, eyes softening as if his mission were complete. Officer Daniels opened the envelope first. Inside was a letter written in shaky handwriting. It belonged to a former teacher, Miss Eleanor Hayes, who had taught at Maple Ridge nearly 40 years earlier. The letter revealed that she had battled a quiet storm of grief, struggling after losing her only child in a tragic accident. Teaching had become her lifeline, her way of staying connected to a world she felt slipping away. But one student in her class, an 8-year-old boy named Lucas, had restored her hope. She wrote about how he stayed after class each day to help her clean, how he painted bright pictures to cheer her up, and how he once gave her a small handmade charm, saying it would protect her heart. The velvet pouch held that charm, a tiny wooden heart, carved with a child's unsteady hands. Alongside it was a photograph of young Lucas, smiling widely with paint-stained fingers. Miss Hayes explained in her letter that when Lucas suddenly moved away, she was devastated. Before leaving, he hid the small heart in her classroom as a surprise gift. But Miss Hayes, equally emotional, sealed it behind a panel to keep it safe, never expecting she would leave the school before retrieving it. Her final words described the hope that someday, someone would uncover this hidden memory and remember that even the smallest acts of kindness could save someone's life. The classroom fell silent. Even the children, too young to fully grasp the depth of the letter, sensed the weight of the discovery. They understood enough to know that the dog had not uncovered danger, he had uncovered love. A forgotten story. A hidden piece of someone's healing. What shook Officer Daniels most was how the letter described Lucas. The charm. The carving style. The details. Because Lucas Hayes, was his father's childhood friend. His father had spoken of him often with a mixture of joy and sadness. Lucas had passed away unexpectedly years ago, and no one had known what happened to the charm he once made for his teacher. Officer Daniels felt the hair on his arms rise as the connection settled deep inside him. It felt as if something long buried had guided Rex to this exact spot. As the story spread through the school, teachers and students gathered to read the letter and hold the small wooden heart. Many cried, moved by the idea that kindness, even from a child, could echo through decades and touch new lives. The school decided to honor Miss Hayes and Lucas with a memorial corner, displaying the charm and the restored letter behind protective glass. Rex became the unofficial hero of the day, not for detecting danger, but for revealing something far more meaningful. Officer Daniels couldn't stop thinking about the strange, almost spiritual way Rex had behaved. The dog had sensed something no human could. He had responded to emotion, to lingering energy, to the invisible imprint of a child's love. It reminded the officer that sometimes the world works in quiet, miraculous ways, nudging us toward moments that mend, teach, or awaken something long forgotten. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, subscribe, and share it so more people can experience its message. Your support helps keep these real and emotional stories alive.